welcome to my YouTube channel, guys. So for today's video we are out here with the sunset on the DIY boosted board. I mean, look at that view. I've made my fair share of boards over the years. For example, this is the first board that I made when I was 18 years old. I'm almost 28 right now, so it's almost 10 years ago. And it's still holding up, so the quality is pretty damn good. I've also made some smaller boards, like this little penny killer. It's also, I think, 6 years old, something like that. And then I've also made some of these boards. It's like more of a loaded 1010, loaded Vanguard type of board. So I think I'm pretty qualified to teach you how to make one of those boards. Some people take just a plank and they cut out a deck out of that, but I mean, let's be honest, that's pretty amateuristic, right? So we're gonna take it a step further. We're gonna use some 3mm thick plywood. We're gonna glue them all together so that we can also give it some shape. It has like this little concave and also a little bit of camber. This is the wood that we're going to be using to make this board. It is 3mm thick plywood made out of birch. Something that you have to take into consideration when making a board is the way that the wood is going to flex, and that is determined by the direction of the grain of the wood. Let me show you. For example, if I pull on this, it's really hard, you know? But when I pull on this side, it comes up really easily. For example, this board was made by cutting out plywood in this direction. So the grain of the wood on this board is in this direction. For this board, on the other hand, the grain of the wood is running diagonal. So this one gives a little bit more flex. Let me show you what the flex looks like on these different types of boards. It is the exact same wood, so the only variable here is the way the grain of the wood runs. In order to make a board like this, we need to have it perfectly symmetrical. But it's really hard to just draw something that's perfectly symmetrical, so we're gonna use a little trick. So for the dimensions, we're gonna take something that's almost like a boosted board. Okay, perfect. So now it's way smaller. We only have to draw one perfect shape, and this shape is going to be perfectly symmetrical in both ways, so front to back and side to side. And all we have to do now is just cut it out, and then we will have a perfectly symmetrical board. Now that we have our paper, all we need to do is just unfold it like this, and then like this, and now we have a board. So, as I said before, the grain of the wood is going to determine how strong the board is and how much flex it gives. If I want a really stiff board, I should make it this way, because the grain of the wood is running this way. On the other hand, if you want a really flexible board, you can make it this way, but I wouldn't advise you to do this, because it probably will break if you do it like this. What I can do, however, is cut out the board in a diagonal pattern, so that the grain is running like this, and then we cut out another board that's this way, and then we glue it on top of each other, so we have this cross pattern. Now for the press that we're going to be making to give some shape into our longboard, this is the part that's going to give us the camber in the board. I've seen a lot of people use a lot of different ways to do this, and I think I've never seen anyone use such a simple method. So let me show you. The top part of this press is just a couple of pieces of wood just attached with a screw. You just have the shortest piece, something a little bit longer, and then the longest one, and they go in a descending way like a staircase. So you have the same thing, exact same thing on the other side, same dimension, and then on the other side of the press you have the lower side, of course, and this is the exact opposite of the top part of the press. And then if you look how they fit into each other, see, it fits perfectly into each other. And then on top we have some beams that are going to be given some even pressure on the whole press. So real easy. I didn't film the whole process because that would take too much time, but I think you get the idea, you know, it's just real simple and easy, which I like. One last thing, when you're working with wood and you're making a longboard like this, you're going to be needing a lot of those bad boys. If you don't have them, buy them. If you have some of them, buy more, because you're going to need them. Just some regular wood glue, and then to spread it out I will just be using a piece of cardboard. Make sure you use enough and that everything is covered in glue.
Let's go. Hey. Yeah, this is my life, my strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name. Oh, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I?
Alright, so we are almost 24 hours after we have glued these boards together. I came back from my 9 to 5, I went to the gym, and now it's time to undo these clamps and see what the results will look like, and I hope that everything will stick together. So let's do it.
How you gonna move forward, what you gonna be?
Okay, here we can already see that there is some concave and some camber. Now we get to draw our board design on the wood. Now we can start cutting out our board, and for that we just use a simple regular jigsaw, nothing expensive, no special tools required. We have arrived at my favorite part of making a longboard, and that is sanding. It takes a lot of time and effort, nobody likes to do it, but it's really important that we sand this board, and I'm gonna show you why. Of course, you want the board to feel smooth and nice, so that when we paint it or when we put some coating on it, that it's nicely done. But there's another thing that's important and why I like to sand my boards, and that is to make the board look thinner. Okay, so let me show you the difference. This board, I just cut it out, and you can see it's really sharp and it's really thick looking. We don't want that, we want it to look thinner, and this board is a perfect example of that, because it's the exact same board, but it looks way thinner because we sanded the edges down. So you can see the difference in the appearance of the thickness of the board. We're going to start with a 40 grit. To go directly to a wayfinder grid. Nice. Now, if you're interested in the rest of the video, explaining how I made a hinge mechanism so that the battery would not bend when the board is flexing, and how I almost killed myself cutting the wires of the battery, how I installed the ESC and 2K test drive with the board for the first time, how I did the design on the board to make it look as dope and professional as possible, of course, and how I had to replace one of the 3D printed parts by making a wooden alternative because it broke off. Well, then you can watch the second part of this video, available on my channel. Enjoy!